Maybe I'm interested in the effect of some particular political intervention, such as having volunteers knock on doors of certain people and ask them who they're going to vote for and encourage them to vote a certain way, versus not doing that. Okay, so maybe I'm interested in the effect on voters of having volunteers knock on their doors versus not. So now I have another source of uncertainty. We started with the target population of all people. Eventually we got to the set of people that we decided would participate in our study, but then within that subset, some of them are going to end up in one group for comparison, and some will end up in the other. Some of those people will have their doors knocked on by volunteers, and some will not. And so that leads us to another source of uncertainty. Depending on which of those people in my sample end up with their doors knocked on versus not, I might end up with a different estimate of my estimand. The parallel here to the target population, remember, our goal is to define what information we'd have to have in order to just calculate rather than estimate our estimand. So when we think about the target population, it consists of all the units that we need information on in order to just calculate the average height of women in the US, for example. But now when I'm talking about comparing two groups, what I really want to know is two pieces of information about everyone in the target population. What I really want to know is, for everyone in the target population, who would they vote for if a volunteer had knocked on their door? And also, for everyone in the target population, who would they want to vote for if no one had knocked on their door? And so by the time I get to my data set, the actual data set that you're going to be able to analyze, the data set consists of units that are a subset of my target population, and within that, for each unit, I only see what would have happened to them if they were in one group, and I do not see what would have happened to them in the other group. And that's another source of uncertainty and another reason that my data set differs from the information I would need in order to just calculate rather than estimate my estimand. Note that one difference here is that it is conceptually possible to gather all the women in the United States and measure their heights. It's not actually practically possible, but it is conceptually possible. I can imagine trying to do such a thing. But when I'm talking about comparing two different treatments, comparing the effect of a volunteer knocking on your door versus not, it's not actually possible to conceptually imagine gathering data where I see who you'd vote for if somebody knocked on your door and also see who you'd vote for if nobody knocked on your door. Those things cannot be observed at the same time. So your data set is going to be, by definition, different from the set of information you'd need in order to just calculate your estimand.